and welcome to another Chelsea chat. And last night in the Carabao Cup Quarter final, I still call it the League Cup, showing my age, it was Chelsea 1, Newcastle 1, and Chelsea won on penalties 4-2. So yes, into the semi-final of a competition, and I didn't see that happening, I must be honest. I didn't see the game last night because of a commitment, but I've just watched it this morning, and it was dire. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It was dire, and another mistake that cost us a goal. That we should have kept a clean sheet last night, and Mudrik's goal should have probably been the winner. Although if it would have been a different dynamic. So who knows what would have happened. Great save by Petrovic from that penalty, and the more you watch it, and then when you watch it in slow motion, you realise what a good penalty save that was to close proceedings for the night. But yeah, it was pretty dire up till then. And looking on social media though, I just don't get the mentality. I don't know everything about football. I wouldn't even pretend to. There's people who watch this that have forgotten more than I knew in the first place. But if someone's out for 6 months injured and they play 15 minutes in one game, 50 minutes the next, and 15 or 20 minutes or half an hour even, or 2 halves or 3 games after 6 months, how can you possibly gauge where they're at as a footballer, particularly with these youngsters? I've just been on Twitter, Brozier, he's not good enough for Chelsea, he's rubbish, get rid of him in the morning. And you think to yourself, I know everyone's entitled to their opinion, but the brain cells that it must take to just rubbish everything that's gone on for that boy, with that injury, his fight back from injury, I think it'll be 10-15 games before we can gauge. In fact, if it was down to me, and I'm not Chelsea manager, I'm just like you, I've got opinions, I'd put him out on loan in January in the Premier League to a lower side who will do a job for, so we can see exactly how good he is. It's like Lukaku, wasn't it? Went out to, was it West Brom and Everton? And it made him, really. We didn't get the benefit of it. But I think Brozier, proper Chelsea lad, I personally think he's got the ability to be a top centre forward. Last night, when he came on, he did some good things, he did some bad things. Couple of lovely touches where he brought it down and we ended up in dangerous situations. Couple of times where I thought he should have shot as a centre forward and he chose to pass it. So good and bad. Couple of times he made a right arse of it. But it is what it is. He's a young footballer just coming back from a really long injury, and I think that anyone who's going to judge so in such a knee-jerk manner is a bit of a cabbage. Just my opinion. Doesn't make them cabbages, just my opinion. While we're on the subject of cabbages, Badiashile last night made an awful error for their goal. Well, in fact, it was a comedy of errors. Colwill, who I'm not convinced by as a left back, caught out of position loads of times, not really convinced his passings up to it. Well, anyway, last night he made an awful pass to Caicedo. I don't know what he was trying to do. Caicedo couldn't get to it. He was wrong-footed. Little bit of 10-year-old coaching. Play it in front of the player for him to run onto, or straight at them so they can pass it back to you once you've hopefully moved, which Colwill doesn't do very often playing at left back. And it went through to Callum Wilson. Silva didn't exactly cover himself in glory, but Wilson's got the legs on him. Badiashile gets his body in front, and it's either probably even back to the goalkeeper or kick it out. And what he did, I don't know, it bobbled off his shin on one leg onto the other, straight to Callum Wilson, who put it away. It was a bad mistake, and I'll be honest, Badiashile didn't have his best of nights. There was 2 or 3 cock-ups last night. A bad pass that put us in no man's land. I think he was rocked by that mistake. I don't think he got his head together after it. But this is a player who was arguably our man in the match on was it Saturday, Sunday? And who's just come back from a major injury. Now, he's normally looks assured. And I'm not making excuses for the boy, but he's having to cover for Colwill when he's out of position. And when you're just getting back from an injury, you may be a bit off the pace. You're going to have good and bad, especially when you're covering for other people. But he's getting slated. Not good enough for Chelsea. Get rid of him in the morning. He made a mistake. Some of these people, supposed supporters, and I know I'll get stick. People say, oh, I've been going since 1960. Well, top man. But it doesn't mean to say you've learnt anything in all those years. He's slagging a bloke who's been out for months and judging him on the one game he plays badly and not the 3 or 4 where he's almost man of the match. What is wrong? What is wrong with people? They should be in a bus licking windows. They really, really should. If they get all the facts in their head and just come up with that. Now, if Badiashile makes the same mistake and plays as badly as he did last night in the next 10 games, I'll say to you, yeah, he's lost it, isn't he? He's never going to be Chelsea quality. He's a young man, like we said, in a new country. I tell you what, I watched an interview after the game with Petrovic and Mudryk, and it just brought home. They were both not struggling with the English, but you could tell it wasn't their first language. And you just think to yourself, you're in new countries, in a relatively, in a new team, and your whole life must have been turned upside down. And yes, you get paid a lot of money. But it sort of brought home to me what they're facing. They're trying to be gelled into a team, and a lot of them are like this. They're young men away from home. Jackson seems to be doing all right with Astrid wet, but apart from that, the actual football side of things, it must really, take a strong professional attitude, which not everyone's got straight away to cope with everything that's going on outside. So there we go, that's me Twitter and my Facebook. Oh, and I'm banned from Facebook groups for the next week, by the way. So if anyone can share this in their group, in their other groups, it would be appreciated. I told a black boxing fan who said that Bernard Hopkins would never lose to a whitey. He still thinks he hasn't, even though Joe Calzaghe stopped him. So I just said that, and I wasn't rude, I wasn't racist, I wasn't anything. I said, well, that's just a racist comment, mate, and to be fair, you're a bit late to the party because Calzaghe beat him. So anyway, I've been banned. So if anyone can share this in their other Chelsea groups, it would be appreciated. Thank you. So last night, Petrovic was in goal. At right back, we had Disaster. In the middle, we had Silva, Badiashile. At left back, we had Colwill. Just in front of them, we had Caicedo and Enzo in a pivot. Gallagher, just in front of them. Cole Palmer and Sterling. And up front, we had Nicholas Jackson. Going to be pretty quick, because it was a lousy game. We huffed, we puffed, we played the ball with lacking in tempo around the back a lot. We improved significantly in the second half. Gusto was brought on to play left back. We looked a lot better when he was switched over to the right. Colwill was taken off. Brozier, as you already know, was brought on. Mudryk was brought on late and got the equaliser because our man of the match, Kieran Trippier. He made a cock up before and Mudryk just stole in, finished well, and Trippier then went on to miss a penalty. He went all Spursy on us in a Newcastle shirt, so well done. And of course we had Nkunku, his first game, well, his Chelsea debut in competitive competition. Yeah, he looked like a player that's been out for months, but he done okay. He'll probably play 3 or 4 games without setting the world alight, and people will want him sold and say he's the worst player ever in a Chelsea shirt. But it's going to take him time, because coming back from an injury like that, it does. Onwards and upwards, Christopher Nkunku. So yeah, our side, Petrovic's going to get a 7, because that was a great penalty save. Didn't have a lot to do, really. Couldn't do anything about the goal. They didn't really threaten a lot. They scored, and then they just seemed to sit back in a block, knowing that we probably wouldn't be able to break them down. How wrong could you be? Although we did huff and puff a lot. And I'll tell you what, we've got to start to shoot. Conor Gallagher, by the way, very unlucky hitting the crossbar. But there's times when Jackson should have shot, Broja should have shot, Gallagher should have shot. Sterling could have played all night and not scored. There was a good block by that horrible Guimaraes on the line. He always leaves something on a player, that geezer. I thought Caicedo was going to get sent off, because that Guimaraes always leaves something on them. Gallagher done well. I think they are gradually growing up and just sort of not bite into these dark arts. But anyway, yeah, back to scoring. Yeah, we could have been there all night. I think Cole Palmer unlucky, just wide. Nicholas Jackson unlucky, done everything right, and then stuck it wide after some good work by Broja, funnily enough. Where was I, Petrovic? Disaster gets a 5. He's not a right back, and he'll never be a right back as long as he's got a hole in his bum. But he tried, just gets caught out of position so often. Thiago Silva last night gets a 6. At least he tries playing it forward. Couple of good blocks. Got done for the goal. He gets a 6. Badiashile last night gets a 4. One of the worst games I've seen him play in a Chelsea shirt. But last week he had 7.5, and the game before that he had a 7, and I think a 6.5 when he come back from injury. So I'm not writing him off. He's not the worst player ever to play in a Chelsea shirt ever. People that say that didn't see Alan May's play, I'm telling you. So where was Colwell last night gets a 5. Not a left back. Feel sorry for the boy. Should be playing. Why we can't play Maatsen there when he played left back and he was Burnley's player of the season, I just don't know. But that's another one for Poch, isn't it? In midfield, Enzo gets a 6. Caicedo gets a 6. Caicedo got booked earlier on, and that sort of affected him. Not the player that we saw on Saturday, that's for sure. Enzo still looks tired to me. Done all right. Gallagher last night gets a 7. Getting stick this morning, I just don't know why. Because if I had to name a Chelsea man of the match, it would probably be Gallagher, purely for sheer effort. In front of them, we had Sterling, and Sterling gets a 6. Lots of running into nowhere. Tried though. I mean, last night them lads they did put a shift in. Cole Palmer 7. Everything that was good really came from Cole Palmer. Lots of effort. Gets back, does his defensive work as well. Just a good all-round egg. And up front we had Nicholas Jackson, who gets a 5.5. Should have shot a couple of times. Lots of running, offside, and Broja came on offside as well, which was a shame because it was a lovely finish when he dinked it over the goalkeeper. I think that's the sort of stuff he can do, which is why I wouldn't write him off. Not after all that long injury. He's just a young lad. I can't get over Twitter and Facebook. I shouldn't go on the internet. I shouldn't. I just get too wound up by cabbages. But anyway, so we huffed and we puffed. It wasn't a great performance. Poch is going to get a 5 because we won. I didn't see any plan, any cohesive strategy apart from playing it along the back and presumably trying to bore them to death, because that's what it does. The supporters last night at Stamford Bridge sounded brilliant, so well done them. Carabao Cup, probably a lot of genuine supporters in there, not as many of the prawn sandwich brigade. And that's all I've got to say, really. I sit back and I hope to see some sort of style, some sort of plan evolve, some sort of project update. But at the moment, I'm not seeing it. But you know what? If we win every game of the season 1-0, and there's no plan, no cohesion, nothing, and if we go on and win the Carabao Cup with no plan, no cohesion, and we play naff, I'll take it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think. That's why I do these. Okay, speak to you soon. Chelsea. Oh, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and yours. Up to Chelsea.